Hello, and welcome to SIS Table Talks, real talk for real change, brought to you by the Sisters of Seeking Insights for Solutions.
Welcome to SIS Table Talks. I'm Trish LeNet, SIS member.
And I'm Luzibu Nsakala, a proud SIS member.
And I'm Gina Barclay-McLaughlin, and I ditto that. Very proud SIS member.
And I'm Marva Jones, ditto to what everyone else said, a proud SIS member. So I'm glad to be here.
Today is the 5th anniversary of the death of George Floyd, and so we're gathered here to talk a little bit about that. And Luzibu will share a little bit of her story with us, and then we'll continue to talk. Luzibu.
Okay. Well, today we remember George Floyd. Okay. His death shook the world and stirred something deep in us. Out of that tragedy, the SIS group was born. A space for truth, justice, and healing. What began as pain became purpose. What felt like an end became a beginning. We honor his name, his memory by continuing his work. Now I would like to go to my story.
And by your story, you're referring to the story in our
In our-
anthology, Where Colors Meet?
Yes.
A tapestry of
That's
black and
black
white.
and white.
Yes. 27 of the SIS members wrote about their own experiences and what brought them to SIS. And this is Luzibu's.
Yes. Okay, well, I have a chapter on our anthology, which is, can you imagine? I come from a small village in the Congo where we carried our water on our heads and our hope in our hearts. I never imagined that life would bring me to America, a land of both struggles and opportunity. Life in Kibunzi had no electricity, no plumbing water, modern convenience, but work rich in love, tradition, and the community. Life was not easy, yet meaningful. Everyone had a role, and every contribution mattered. The Swedish missionary brought education and healthcare in my village and opened a door I never knew existed. Education became my calling. I'm who I am because of the strength of my ancestors and the dedication of my teachers. But even strong roots must face the wind of change. At 18, I left home for United States with nothing but faith and determination. Everything felt unfamiliar. I missed home and the girls I had been. Kibunzi, I knew who I was. In America, I constantly translating, adjusting, proving myself. Yet, in that disorientation, I found resilience. America tested my identity, my faith, and my endurance. I struggled to belong. Assimilation was not easy. I faced language barriers that silenced me, culture misunderstandings that made me isolated, racial discrimination that challenged my self-worth, a deep longing to belong, even as I struggle to find my place. Racial discrimination that challenged my self-worth, a deep longing to belong, even as I struggle to find health, cleaning homes, washing dishes, and caregiving taught me humility, quiet strength, and dignity. I was not just surviving, I was becoming. My strength came from my faith, my husband, Nsakala, whose dream I supported even as I postponed mine, and from the others, who dear friends, whose kind shaped my journey. The value I carried from Kibunzi remained my compass. Today, I am not torn between the two worlds I live. Both Congo and America live with me. My children reflect the speech. My children reflect that. They speak English with ease, but they know the lullaby I sang to them in my native tongue, Kikongo. There are dreams I dared to dream, a future born to sacrifice and sustained by love. I'm rooted in the red soul of Kibunzi and rising from the concrete of America. I rise with them. Though I left the Kibunzi, its strength walks with me. In rising here, I carry the voices of many who dare to dream across the borders. Okay, I would like to end with a poem I wrote. My shadow walks beside me. My shadow is quiet grace, a soft companion keeping pace. It knows my wounds. It feels my light. It grows with me through day and night, not bound by fear, not cast in shame. It bears no pride. It seeks no fame. It is part of me, yet not whole, a mirror to my rising soul. This poem reflected a journey so many of us are on, acknowledging shadows we carry, not to hide them, but to learn from them, to grow, to heal. Just like our stories in the anthology, our shadows walks with us, quiet, faithful, and full of truth.
Oh, that's
Right.
beautiful.
Right.
A stunning
Wonderful.
writer, just a stunning writer.
Yes.
And
Beautiful.
yeah,
Absolutely beautiful.
it is. So the story of immigration that you experienced, we have Gina, who also experienced, and I could see you were nodding your head.
Oh, yes.
You know,
So much similarity, even though so far away.
Yes,
Yes.
mhm.
because when I read Gina's story, I can see myself in Gina's shoes
Mhm.
because we both experienced the same issues, discrimination, and also for me, for culture shocks.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
And Gina, you immigrate.
And I immigrated
in-
from the Republic of Panama.
Mhm.
It's a part of the Americas, but it's not thought in as being America in any way. So when I came, I had a different reception than you, but I had a similar.
Right.
You know, I was a stranger to people who surround me. And interestingly enough, it was a white family that made it possible for us to come to the United States. My father worked in the military, and it was really interesting that his good friend, because my father worked in the clubhouse for the military. So people from all over the world were coming in to have a drink, to mingle with each other, talk with each other, get to know each other. And that's how he got to know so many people from all over the world. And it was a white couple that frequent the clubhouse that became really good friends of my parents. And it was interesting. They were responsible for us coming to the U.S.
So it's the same
Same,
thing.
same
So the
thing.
same story, because for me, my husband made a missionary, white missionary, in a Kibunzi, in a Congo. And then that missionary came back to the US, and his family sponsored me. So their stories are very similar.
And that's what we learn when we share.
Exactly.
We learn the commonalities that we share. We learn, and the commonalities across race.
Right.
That's why this experience that we have together here as a group called SIS really speaks to so many of the issues. It's not just a black-white issue. It's just so interesting how there's similarities that connect us all in different ways. Now, when I started elementary school, kindergarten, it was an all-white school. And I was strange to them. And my sister, who was a year younger, went home from her first kindergarten experience, and she was in the bathroom scrubbing and scrubbing, trying to get the dirt off her face, because everybody told her in kindergarten that she's dirty and you got to go wash your face before you come to school. They didn't understand.
Yeah.
I think that story's that experience is in your story.
Oh, is it? Did I include
it seems like you.
I think I did.
Yeah.
She really felt like something was wrong, you know, and I went in the bathroom and said, "What's going on? What are you doing?" And she said, "I gotta get this off, this off."
Yeah, I just want to bring one point, you know, that the ally we need, you know,
Allies, yeah.
Because
sure.
without Carol in a Kibunzi in the Congo, I would not be here. So we need that allies.
Yeah.
And sometimes this understanding is so complicated. It takes so many people helping you to understand, helping you to see the positive of the experience, which was really hard for a kid at 5 years old to understand. And think about how early that can happen in your life. That is a part of the foundation of who you become.
That's right.
Yeah.
And understanding that as teachers and people who touch our lives in very powerful and important long-term ways. You know, some of it is kind of hard to even connect with because we don't understand.
Exactly.
Yeah. I immigrated too, but my immigration experience was very different than yours because of the color of my skin. I mean, I'm from Canada, and my parents came over here. But because, at least by skin color, I didn't face the discrimination that you did. Although I was always a little different than everybody else, you know, in other ways, but not like you did experience.
So when you mentioned Canada, it reminded me of when I was a child and my parents took us to Canada. every summer because they worked up there at a club on an island called Big One Inn. And so we would go to town periodically, and the people who were living there in Muskoka, the Lake of Bays in Ontario, had never seen Black children, Black people. So we were walking down the street, and so when you're talking about immigration, I'm thinking about me being in a different place as well.
Sure.
One of the little boys looked and saw me, and he said, I drink white milk and my skin is white. Do you drink chocolate milk? I remember that. Is that why your skin is dark?
Yeah.
And I said, no. And then, there's just certain things that you experience. Even our children, when we were raising our children, they wanted to know, why did he have dark gums right here instead of pink? All kinds of different ideas when things come up. So you're always teaching them to be proud of who they are and to walk with grace and humility, but always know who you are and accept people for who they are.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that's harder than we think sometimes. We
Yeah.
kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to help children make sense of their world
Right. Right.
and understand it. And that's why I think the work we're doing of sharing our stories is more powerful than we even imagine
Right.
sometimes.
And getting people to talk about their own stories as well, and then coming to some understanding. So,
And then there's a standard of beauty that we as Black people sometimes internalize, that there's one standard and it's the European standard. And we realize as we grow and as we get older that the African standard is also a standard. There's all kinds of standards of beauty.
yes.
And so you teach your children and to be proud of their Blackness. You teach your children to be proud of the color of their skin, the hair that they have, whatever it is. And also to accept everyone because of who they are.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah, that.
you're always teaching.
Back and forth,
Always.
yes.
Mhm.
Kindness is
Yes.
given and kindness is taken as well. So it's a sharing, isn't it?
It's really complicated sometimes when you see somebody looks like you. So I went from an all-white school. Probably the expectation is that I was different to them. But when I went to at first grade, I transferred because we moved to Chicago from the small suburb of Illinois, Ottawa. It was so different in the makeup,
Even if you were Black and
That's
all
right.
the other children were Black, you were also seen as different.
I was
right?
in
Because
an
of your
all-Black
accent?
school,
Because of your accent,
and they started,
your Spanish accent.
yeah, and they, our television reinforced some things.
Yeah.
So on TV, we were not on television very much.
Oh, that's
We were not on TV very much. So whenever people would see a Black person on TV, they would run and say, turn on the TV, turn on the TV. Because they saw a Black person on television, the neighbors would pass the word down, turn on the television. Because
The
a
absence
Black person was on television.
of absence of representation
Right.
by Black because of the discrimination.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for me, coming from Africa, come here and see Black Americans, look alike, skin, everything. But there is something in there when I got here, I could not get because I could not fit anywhere because I have a different culture.
Your culture.
And I
right.
have to learn the culture from here.
Yeah.
And I carry both culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that ironic that you would think that it would be a support? And I'm in an all-Black school. I'm 6 years old. And I was excited to see somebody looking like me. But it turned out to be somebody, my classmates would jump from one place to the other because they were jumping. Tarzan is who they knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were acting out who they thought Tarzan was.
Well, because they thought you were from Africa.
They thought I was from Africa, and that that, you know, I didn't know anything about. And so one of the people at the church told me, whenever they say that, do you live in the trees? And just say, what I like about our trees is, no, we didn't have elevators, but we knew how to move from tree to tree.
Oh. Well, thank you very much. So interesting, and we learn so much every time we get together and talk about our experiences. We learn so much. So thank you.
Thank you.